The stars above the royal fleet blinked like frozen fire. Princess Arabella stood on the balcony of her command ship, looking down at the planet below Virellan 5. She was born in war, raised in discipline, and trained to be the strongest of her kind. Her father, the High King of the Virellan Empire, had declared long ago, "No male shall stand beside you unless he can defeat you." So far, none had come close. Dozens of alien suitors from powerful systems had tried. All had failed. Some left humiliated, others left injured. She didn't care. Power was her throne. Pride was her blood. She had no space in her life for weak words or soft touches, but something was changing. A hidden enemy had attacked their outer colonies. Ships went missing. Whole stations were wiped out. The Empire was afraid to say it out loud, but everyone felt it. There was a new war coming. And no one knew who started it. Inside the main deck, alarm suddenly screamed. A junior officer shouted, "Princess, unidentified object entering our sector." "It's fast, no known signature." She narrowed her eyes. "Put it on screen." The hologram flickered. A small black ship shaped like a blade sliced across the display. It was unlike anything they'd seen before. No emblems, no warnings. Just silence and speed. The ship dived toward the surface of Virellan 5 like a hunter. It dodged laser nets, ignored warning shots, and landed right in the royal combat arena where Arabella had once broken 3 ribs of a general who dared to question her strength. "Prepare the guards," she ordered coldly. "I will greet this thing myself." Minutes later, she stood at the edge of the arena, wearing her armor etched with silver lines of past victories. Her sword hummed softly in her hand. She expected another robotic drone, or maybe a suicidal alien prince. But when the smoke cleared, it was a human. Tall, worn boots, a torn black cloak, his face hidden under a dusty helmet. He stood alone, arms at his side, no weapon in sight. One of her guards whispered, "He's just a man?" Arabella stepped forward, confused and insulted. "State your name and reason before I turn your bones to powder." The man didn't speak. He slowly removed his helmet. The crowd gasped. He looked ordinary. No glowing eyes, no monster teeth. Just calm, brown eyes and a scar that ran from cheek to jaw like a knife had once tried to silence him. She laughed. Not kindly. "Is this a joke? Did some dying world send me a gift wrapped in skin?" The man finally spoke. His voice was quiet, but steady. "I'm here to challenge you." A hush fell across the arena. "Challenge her." She tilted her head. "To what? A staring contest? Or perhaps you wish to die for honor?" The man nodded once. "If I win, you will come with me." "To where?" she mocked. "A cave full of humans who think courage is enough." "No," he said, "to the truth." That word struck something deep in her. But she showed nothing. With a flick of her sword, the ground cracked. "Then bleed for it, human." As the battle began, her mind told her it would be quick. But her instincts, silent for so long, whispered something dangerous. He doesn't fight like the others. He's not afraid. And worse, she wasn't sure she wanted him to lose. Asterisk. The crowd held its breath as the human stepped forward into the battle ring. Princess Arabella moved first. Her blade was fast, almost invisible to the eye. It sliced toward the man's chest in a clean arc meant to test him, to scare him, to humiliate him before finishing the job. But he ducked, not stumbled. Not dodged by luck. He moved like water, flowing beneath her strike with a calm grace that made her pulse jump. She twisted and swung again, low, then high. Then a spinning slice aimed to knock him across the arena. He didn't block. He stepped aside. As if he knew where her blade would be before she did. The crowd began to murmur. This wasn't possible. She had trained with war machines, duel masters, and psychic bladesmiths. No one could predict her rhythm, and yet this human didn't just survive, he danced through it. "You're not attacking. she growled, backing away a step. Why? I don't need to, he said quietly. Aravella's eyes narrowed. She hated riddles. She hated games. You challenge a princess of Virellan and think you'll win with footwork? He smiled for the first time. I didn't come to hurt you. That smile, it shook something inside her. It wasn't mocking. It wasn't begging. It was ... She charged again, faster now, angrier. Her blade crackled with energy. This time, she wouldn't miss. And this time he caught her wrist. Gasps echoed through the golden chambers. She stared in disbelief. No man had ever dared to touch her like that. But his grip wasn't cruel. It wasn't weak either. It was controlled. Calm, steady. Let go, she whispered. Only if you listen, he replied. She shoved him back and jumped into a defensive stance, heart pounding. Who are you? I told you I'm here to show you the truth. What truth? She snapped. That humans think love wins battles? He stepped forward slowly. The war coming for your empire. It doesn't care about titles. It doesn't care about pride or rules or power. It only wants to consume. I've seen it. She paused. Something cold crept into her chest. Where? She asked. My home, he said. We lost half the planet. Before we understood it, it took everything, and now, it's heading here. She felt a chill run down her back. He wasn't lying. His eyes told her more than words ever could. You're saying this to scare me, she said, though her voice had softened. I'm saying this to save you. He answered. She didn't know what to say. For the first time in her life, she wasn't sure she could win, for the first time. Someone had stood before her not as a suitor, or a rival, or an admirer, but as an equal, a human, a warning, and something inside her, something buried under years of strength and duty started to listen. She lowered her blade, just slightly. This war, she said slowly. Tell me everything. Princess Aravella walked with slow, measured steps through the corridors of her star cruiser. The human walked beside her in silence. No guards, no weapons. Just him and the weight of his words. She hated that her heart was still beating faster than it should. He didn't even try to impress her. No fancy speech, no dramatic titles. And yet, his presence pulled at her thoughts like gravity. She had beaten warriors 3 times his size. But this man had cracked something inside her with nothing but honesty. They entered the war room. Dozens of holograms floated in the air, battle reports, missing patrols, energy signatures from dead systems. She waved her hand. A giant galactic map appeared in front of them. Show me where it started, she said. He pointed to a planet near the outer fringe. Earth. 5 years ago. We thought it was a new disease. But it wasn't. What was it? He looked at her. A devourer. A hive. We called it the swarm, she frowned. We've faced hives before. Not like this one, he said. It doesn't just eat. It learns. It copies. It changes. Every weapon we used, it adapted. Every base we built, it studied. Until it made us fight ourselves. He pulled a small device from his coat and placed it on the table. A projection flickered to life, grainy footage of cities burning, skies blackened by flying shapes, soldiers firing at creatures that looked like twisted, broken versions of humans. Aravella stared at it. These things. They weren't alive in any normal way. They moved like insects, but they screamed like people. Their bodies were part machine, part flesh. How did you survive? She whispered. The human hesitated, then said, We didn't. Not really. He looked at her again. I'm the last soldier from Earth's final defense unit. I escaped with help from an alien rebel ship. They believed someone had to carry the warning. Her throat tightened. She didn't want to feel this. Sympathy, respect, curiosity. Yet, it was there. You came here to warn us, she said. He nodded. And to offer a choice. What choice? You. Lead the most powerful fleet in this sector. If you believe me, we prepare together. If not, you kill me, and your world burns next." Silence filled the room. Aravella was no fool. Her empire had scouts too. Strange signals, dead zones. Even a lost planet Krolith Prime gone without a trace. It all matched what he said. Yet ... part of her didn't want to trust him because it meant admitting she needed help. That she couldn't fight alone. She looked at him, really looked. He stood straight, calm, not afraid of her judgment. Not begging for survival. Just waiting. She turned away for a moment, breathing hard. Then she spoke without turning back. "You fought alone, didn't you? Yes. You lost your home. Yes. And now you're standing before a princess, known for rejecting every male who ever tried to tame her, asking her to join you." He said nothing, but she heard the answer in his silence. He wasn't trying to tame her. He was asking her to rise with him. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "Then teach me, human, how you fought something you couldn't kill." The war room was silent except for the quiet hum of machines. Princess Aravella had never said those words before. Teach me. Her command staff stood frozen, not sure if they had heard her correctly. The human looked at her, then slowly nodded. "The swarm doesn't fear power," he said. "It feeds on it. The stronger your army, the more it learns. You cannot fight it the way you fought others." Aravella folded her arms, eyes narrowed. "Then how do we fight a thing that turns strength into weakness?" He placed a device on the table. A sphere lit up, and dozens of small dots swarmed around a glowing blue planet. "We created trap zones. We lured it to cold environments where it moved slower. We used misdirection, guerrilla strikes, low-tech solutions that it couldn't predict." She studied the data closely. "You're saying our weapons will only make it evolve?" "Yes," he said. "Every time you use advanced energy tech, it copies and mutates. It becomes faster, harder, more intelligent. And yet," she said slowly, "you still survived long enough to escape." He looked tired when he answered. "Barely, but we learned one truth. It doesn't know how to feel. It can't understand sacrifice, loyalty, love. It knows how to destroy, but not how to fight for someone else. That's the one thing it hasn't cracked." That made her pause. In her world, warriors fought for honor, for glory, for bloodlines, but not for love. Not really. She studied his face. "That's why you came to me, isn't it? Not just to warn, but because I'm the one everyone fears, and if I believe you, others will too." He didn't answer with words. Instead, he stepped closer, lowering his voice. "You're the strongest person I've ever seen. But sometimes, strength is not enough. Sometimes, it's the heart that wins. The war." Her heart beat faster again. She hated that. She hated how he made her feel seen. But she didn't back away. Instead, she turned to her council. "Summon the war commanders. Prepare the fleet. Lock down the high-tech weapons. From this moment forward, we fight smart, not loud." There were gasps, even protests. One general stepped forward. "Your Highness, we cannot change strategy based on the words of a human stranger." She stepped forward, face hard as stone. "This human faced something we haven't. He survived it. He didn't ask to lead. He asked us to listen. And I say, he has earned that." The general bowed, reluctantly. The others followed. Then, quietly, she turned to the human. "You never told me your name." He looked surprised. "You never asked." She tilted her head. "I'm asking now." He smiled a little. "Jace." She nodded once. "I am Aravella of Virellan, daughter of the High King, princess of the Diamond Flame, and today, I become student to a human named Jace." And as the room watched in stunned silence, the princess who rejected all ... stepped down from her throne of pride and stood side by side with the man from a dead world. Together, they would prepare, but neither of them knew the swarm had already arrived. The skies above Virellan space darkened without warning. One by one, border stations went silent. Patrol ships vanished without distress calls. The deep sensors showed shadows moving between stars, too fast, too quiet, no clear shape. Just silence. Followed by nothing. Princess Arabella stood on the command deck, her armor newly reforged for mobility and speed. Jay stood beside her, scanning the incoming data. "It's starting," he said. She nodded. "Then so are we." Across the fleet. Her voice echoed through every ship. "This is not a war of glory. Not a battle for titles. This is survival. You follow my orders exactly. No high-energy weapons. Small teams only. If you see something strange, do not chase it. Report. Fall back. Work together." The old warriors grumbled. Many thought it was cowardice. But she didn't care. Not anymore. Not when entire planets had already gone dark. Inside her ship's war chamber, Jay showed the latest scan. "They've reached Moira 3. That's only 2 jumps from here. Once they take it, your outer defenses collapse." Arabella stared at the glowing red dots. "Then we stop them there." He shook his head. "You're not ready." "We'll never be ready," she snapped. "But we move." Jace didn't argue. He simply handed her a wrist module. "What is this?" she asked. "Tracker. If we're separated, I'll find you." For a moment, her fingers paused over the device. No one had ever said something like that to her. She didn't speak. She just strapped it on and walked toward the launch bay. Hours later, Arabella and Jace landed with a small strike team on the forest moon of Moira 3. The place was silent. Trees burned slowly under a dark sky. Buildings half melted. But no bodies. Just emptiness. "They're hiding," Jace whispered, scanning the tree line. "Waiting for us to make the first move." Suddenly, a scream echoed from a nearby village. One of her soldiers ran toward it, weapon raised. "Fall back!" Arabella shouted. But it was too late. From the shadows came a shape twisted and wrong. Not a beast, not a machine. A mockery of flesh and wires dragging itself forward on broken limbs. The dead face of a Virellan soldier was fused into its side. It opened its mouth and screamed using someone else's voice. The young soldier fired, a high-energy blast. "No!" Jace shouted. Too late again. The creature absorbed the energy. Its chest glowed, then split open. Dozens more poured out. Arabella's team pulled back fast, following her signals into a collapsed bunker. Jace slammed the door behind them. Inside, it was dark, dusty, and shaking. What were those? One soldier gasped. "Jac looked grim. Our failure. And your future, if we lose." Arabella stood in the center, heart pounding. Blood hot with fury, not fear. "We adapt. We don't use energy. From now on, we think like the enemy. But we fight like ourselves." Jace looked at her. And for the first time, she didn't look like a princess giving orders. She looked like a warrior ready to burn herself for her people. He reached into his coat and handed her a curved, primitive blade. No energy, just steel. She took it, held it. Then said softly, "Let them come." The bunker shook with every distant thud. Above, the ground trembled as if giants walked across it. Arabella stood beside Jace in the dark, gripping the steel blade he had given her. It felt strange in her hand. No hum, no energy flow. Just cold metal. But in this war, cold steel worked better than advanced tech. The creatures outside didn't fear it. They didn't understand it. "They're swarming the exit tunnels," one soldier reported. "We have less than 20 minutes before they find a way in." "Are the firebombs ready?" Arabella asked. "Yes, but..." He hesitated. "You'll have to be very close for them to work." She nodded. "Then we go together." "No," Jay said suddenly. "I'll do it." She turned sharply. "I didn't ask for your offer." "And I didn't ask for your permission," he replied calmly. She stepped closer to him. I'm not sending you out there to die. You're not sending me anywhere. I've done this before. You lead them. I distract the swarm. She stared at him. Her voice dropped low. You think I can watch you run into death and just walk away? You'll do it, he said. Because you're the one they'll follow. Because this world doesn't need another hero. It needs a survivor. She wanted to scream. To punch him. To stop him. But she couldn't. Because deep inside, she knew he was right. She touched the edge of the blade he gave her and whispered, "Don't make me regret trusting you." He gave her a quiet smile. You won't. Then he turned and walked toward the eastern tunnel, a pack of firebombs strapped to his back and silence following him like a shadow. 10 minutes later, the bunker doors opened and hell followed. The swarm poured in like a flood of nightmares. Broken arms, mechanical limbs, copied faces, some of them wearing the skin of her lost soldiers. But this time, Virellan didn't retreat. She charged. No energy blades. No glowing shields. Just steel. She moved like a flame through the darker blade, cutting with precision, every move designed to kill, not impress. The swarm screeched in confusion. They had adapted to energy. Not instinct. And Virellan's instinct was sharper than any machine. Her soldiers followed her, matching her pace, striking with knives, axes, and primitive tools. What once looked like monsters now bled like beasts. And then the sky lit up. A fireball exploded far in the east, shaking the ground. The tunnel collapsed. She knew what it meant. Jace had done it. But the price. She froze. Smoke rose in the distance. Her hand trembled, not from pain, but from fear she had never let herself feel before. What if he didn't make it? What if she never heard his quiet voice again? A voice crackled in her ear, faint, weak, but there. Virellan. She dropped her blade and grabbed the cum. Jace, you're alive? He coughed. Barely, but yeah, I told you I'd find you. Her eyes closed for a second, relief washing over her like a tide. She had faced 100 battles and never once cried, but now a single tear fell, and she whispered, I'll find you. Stay alive, human. This war isn't over. Not yet. Smoke curled from the broken hills of Moira 3. Black ash rained down like snow. The swarm had been pushed back for now. Princess Virellan stood on the edge of a shattered ridge, her armor torn, her arms bloodied, and her eyes scanning the horizon. She saw no more monsters, just fire and silence. Behind her, wounded soldiers rested in makeshift shelters. They had survived because they listened, because they changed, and because one human showed them how status. Casualties are high, but we held them. She nodded, but her eyes remained fixed on the eastern side of the forest. Where Jace had vanished. Suddenly, movement appeared in the dust. A figure limped through the smoke, cloak burned, armor cracked, but he walked like nothing could stop him. Jac didn't wait. She ran, the mighty princess of the Virellan Empire, who once rejected every warrior, who never bowed, never bent, ran like a storm down the hill. When she reached him, she didn't speak. She didn't ask if he was hurt. She just pulled him close and held him, chest to chest, like she had waited forever to do it. He whispered, You okay, princess? She nodded against him. Not a princess today. He smiled, weak but real. No? She looked into his eyes, voice soft and trembling. Today, I'm just the woman you made feel alive. The woman you made plead for something real. He blinked. You pleaded? Yes, she said. Inside, in silence, the moment I thought I lost you. He held her tighter. Then I'm glad I survived. They stood there while the wind blew over the battlefield. Two warriors from different worlds, one trained for honor, the other forged by loss, finding peace in the middle of destruction. Later, when the fleet returned, Virellan gave one final speech. This human came to me not as a conqueror, but as a reminder that pride without purpose is hollow. That strength without compassion is empty. Today, I declare this war is not just ours. It belongs to all who still choose to fight with heart. He is no longer just a human to me. He is the one I trust with my world. And the Virellan Empire, the proud, ancient empire, bowed its head for the first time, not to a king, not to a prince, but to a man from a broken world who reminded them how to hope. And beside him, the princess who once rejected every male, now walked by his side, not as a ruler above him, but as his equal.